Hi, this is Mr. K's, and we are continuing on with 30.2b. 30.2b, discussion of totalitarianism, and what better way to talk about that than Stalinist Russia. Joseph Stalin seized control, and he wanted to control not only the means of production, the factories, but also he wanted to control people's personal lives. That was pretty intense. And how did he do it? He did it through police terror, indoctrination, propaganda, censorship, and persecution of religious and ethnic minorities. And he was pretty good at it. We're going to continue on and see how this plays out. Okay. He used a 5-year plan. Very organized in what he wanted. He looked at other nations and said, man, I need steel production to build weapons and modern industry. So his 5-year plan was an outline for the development of economy. His outline for development of economy. And he had high quotas set. High quotas. Quotas. I want so much the first year, so much the second year, so much the third year. By the time we get to the 5th year, we're going to have this much production. And it was very high in its quotas. It was very high in its ambition. Stalin would take small farms and strip the owners of the land and then put it all together in a huge farm. So these collectives were large government-owned farms. Large government-owned farms. The goal of more food production with less workers. The goal of more food production with less workers. Now the breadbasket of the Soviet Union was the Ukraine, and they put so many people on this huge farm, and they were supposed to have a huge output of food, like wheat. The wealthy peasant class, called the kulaks, K-U-L-A-K-S, the wealthy peasant class resisted and were eliminated. The wealthy peasant class, called kulaks, in the Ukraine resisted. They didn't want to be stripped of their land. They were, and they were sent off to Siberia or executed. Resistance, if there was any, was in the form of slaughtering livestock and destruction of crops. Some of the kulaks, or the people who didn't want to live on these big farms, their resistance to Stalin was in the form of slaughtering livestock and destruction of crops. So you can see this is going to not work very well in the beginning, and there was starvation. However, under Stalin's Russia, we have women that gain rights from the Bolshevik Revolution of 1917. Women gain rights from the Bolshevik, B-O-L-S-H-E-V-I-K, the Bolshevik Revolution of 1917. They were seen as equal with men. But, hang on ladies, it's not going to be all great. Women work in the labor force. Women work in the labor force. The state provided child care. The state provided child care. Women work in the workforce, in the labor force. The state provided child care. And yet, the men still held the best jobs. Men still held the best jobs. I don't know about you, but I would be worried if the state provided child care. What are they teaching those kids? Well, you could pretty much figure out it was to glorify Joseph Stalin and the Communist Party. By the late 1930s, Stalin had achieved total control in the USSR. By the late 1930s, Stalin had achieved total control in the USSR. He had purged his rivals. He had now taken control over every aspect of society, and anything that had to do with popular media glorified Stalin. I'm going to show you an example here. There's 2 pictures here. The original picture shows Stalin with some of his people. Obviously, this guy fell out of favor because later pictures, this guy is airbrushed out. What was his crime? He might have opposed Stalin, or Stalin might have thought he opposed him. But this guy is probably gone, sent off to the salt mines for hard labor, or he was just executed. But Stalin could not have anybody who rivaled him for glory or attention. So this guy is wound tight. Well, that's it for today. This is 30.2b, and this is Mr. K's. See you down the road.